Alright guys, welcome to Full Spectrum Warriors. In this show we take a look at what's been going on the official forums, what people's grievances are, what people's hopes are, and any ideas they would like to see added to the game. Before that though, I'd just like to say that Game Glass is running a 20% discount for Black Friday. That's a 20% discount for subscribing and a 20% discount for the lifetime pass. That will run until December 14th. There's a link and a code for that you can use in the description if you're looking for a Christmas present for somebody or for yourself, then that's possibly an idea. I'm just saying. No pressure, but buy 3. They're also running a giveaway where you can win a Star Citizen ship pack with a Clipper, Salvation and an MDC and a lifetime Game Glass pass. Second prize is a Fire tablet with 12 months Game Glass, and the third prize is 12-month Game Glass on its own. So get over there, stick your name down, and good luck with your entries. Now, it's been quite a dramatic week over on the Spectrum forums, so let's get on with the show. Actually wait, before we start, Nova, if you're watching this on the bog, mate, just know that we all know now, and we're disgusted. Just make sure you wash your fucking hands. Nova's girlfriend, I apologise profusely for him taking so long in there. I do tend to ramble on a bit. You have my sincere apologies. Okay, now we can start the show. This is a pleasant surprise. Best in Show paints. If you don't know, we can now buy all the previous Best in Show paints. There's packs going with all of them for about 35 quid, which is fantastic, fantastic news. And that is, in my opinion, the way it always should have been. I always thought the idea of holding a contest where you voted on your best ship, but you could only get the skin reward if you had paid possibly hundreds of pounds, was a bit against the spirit of the event. Because people have maybe been grinding for, weeks or months to get up to a Carrack or whatever in game, and then that's became their favourite ship, but no reward for you, I'm afraid. But then, we're all wired a little bit differently. To me, that's just a $300 skin. To you, that might just be a free skin for a ship that you might happen to own, because some people care more about skins than others. And we're going to get into the weeds on this one, because this post is just a pleasant scraping off the surface on how divided this has made everybody in the community. But generally, it's a positive thing. There's no denying that. And even if you do feel slapped in the face, the chances are there were some of these paints that you missed as well, so you're feeling kind of conflicted right now. And besides that, another benefit is, I felt a great disturbance in the great market, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. Holy F, this is both great and a bit of a letdown at the same time. Hanzo says this is the best take. I love screwing over the secondary market, but CiG also used these skins to sell ships under the guise of limited time availability. And they did. There's no getting around it. They absolutely 100% did. And you're gonna get guys like this guy here nitpicking the language used by CiG to leave it open-ended in a way where they never said they would never come back. And to be perfectly honest, they're probably right. CiG probably never definitively said they would never come back, but they did make it abundantly clear that these were limited edition, exclusive, tied to a certain year at a certain time. And I mean, sure, you can back and forward what limited edition means in that context, but I think it was pretty clear to everybody that they are saying this is your only chance to get these skins. And that's what everybody believes. I have been pining for that white and gold Eclipse skin since the very first day I seen it. I was so happy yesterday. So happy. And I know that might sound weird about a skin, but honest to God, I'm an absolute skin whore. Really bad. And it's strange to me that they've done this. Although it's positive for me because I get to get all those skins that I missed. I'm loving it. But I know for a fact that I moved things around. I upgraded CCUs and things like that to make sure that I picked up the Best in Show skins. Sometimes I would use the fact that there was 2 waves and I would try and nail the first 2 on the first wave and then try and jiggle them again to get the next 2. And I know I won't have been alone in that. And yes, just for skins. People do this just for skins. There are collectors, you could call us. And I know that's daft because they're just digital items for a stupid skin on a stupid ship in a stupid game. We know what we're doing. And I see that as the counter argument quite a lot. You fell for the FOMO, that's on you. No. At the point at which they were offered as rare and limited. And that has now changed. Personally, I don't have a problem with it though. I want everybody to have access to these skins. But that's not the point. The point is there's a lot of people out there feeling slapped in the face, and quite rightly so, because CiG has pulled the rug, just like they did with the F8C. They said or implied one thing and then, you know, just did the exact opposite for money. And at this point, I think people are starting to realise that it erodes trust. For example, say I had everything set up to get those 4 skins during this year's IAE, moved a couple of things around, made a couple of CCUs. Now that they've done this, I'll never do that again. That's the real implication here, is that I now know, and they've not confirmed if this is true, I probably only need to wait a year to get my hands on last year's IAE skins, if they do this again. And they very well might not. And that would be an even bigger kick in the teeth. But yeah, positive change should have been that way from the start. But as usual, now that this has happened, it's split the community again. A lot of people are happy, I'm happy. But whether you choose to see it or not, a little bit of trust has been eroded there again. It's an interesting one. I just wish they would come out and say outright what the plan is. Because the oldest, most religious backers that thought they were buying a little piece of history just for them, for being there at the time, they will hate you for this. Anyway, let's move on. CiG gonna CiG. Switching the best in show paint topic, why not put your attention on hex codes? That's the real question. And the answer is pretty obvious. Literally millions of pennies. Because they are waiting for those of us who remember this promise to die off. With all this nostalgic return of the paints, it would be great if the most beautiful Mercury paint, the Night Runner, could return, making it available again or perhaps even for purchase. Oh my god, yes. I would be completely up for that. Only if they redo it to match the original concept. Oh, there we go, yes. For the love of God, please. Yeah, I would be up for that. Just make this, give a free version to all these guys who own this. Problem solved. I mean, if you're gonna burn that exclusivity bridge anyway, then, you know, you might as well do it in style. Let's face it. Let's do one more paint thing. I feel these paints have now completely lost their significance and are in the same category as Invictus paints or whatever. Nurseman, this is a nothing burger. The various customers that bought, melted, CCU'd, blah 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 on the basis of getting these skins were making a mistake in my opinion, and I've always said and thought that game within a game was a bubble and a weird practice. Some of the replies are hilarious. That anyone thought it was rational to spend hundreds on a ship to get a special paint is hilarious. I mean, yeah, that is hilarious. But according to Jet Black, it's not that simple. For the person who did not own the ship going into IAE and then decided to not wait and pledge for a specific ship so they could have that paint, it wasn't free. Nor would I say it was free to someone who really wasn't crazy about the ship but then pledged for it because they liked the best in show paint and had to buy it now before it's gone. For you, it's a nothing burger, but for many others, it's about trust, and that is the issue I have. I don't like when people constantly say how untrustworthy CiG is, or how you can't believe anything they say, but thinking about this, I can't see any defence for the choice. I understand CiG needs to fund the project, but this feels like a cash grab. And just for reference, right? Ship Showdown, celebrate in style. Celebrate and commemorate their place in aerospace history with special limited edition liveries only available during the IAE. Just for reference. And sure, they are selling the old skins during IAE. Do you see what they've done there? Do you see how people might feel misled? They run that for five years, is it? With none of the previous skins being on sale, so therefore it's safe to assume this is a one-time offer. And then all of a sudden, boom. Yeah, it's definitely sketchy. You'll never convince me otherwise. But with the overwhelming majority defending CiG because they're happy they're getting the skins, what are you gonna do? It is generally a more positive way to do this event. But going forward, just know limited doesn't exist anymore, which is nice because you don't have to feel stressed to buy anything, just wait for it later. CiG just ended FOMO. Anyway, no more talking about ship skins. Will you do a wipe after these Alpha UAC exploits? Yeah, I've seen a massive uptick in the prices in the game. People have got money, like billions all of a sudden, and it's messing with the, you know, the trading prices for items and components and armors and things like that. A guy on my Discord got offered 2 billion for, I think it's a gilded overlord core, 2 billion That's freaking nuts. And the prices of basic components are through the roof as well. Somebody's found an exploit and is totally messing up the market, which does bring into question, will there be a wipe because of this? Possibly, if they find the exploit and destroy it. So you know what to do, be on your lookout. Try and figure out how this is happening. Something must be getting duped somewhere, just keep your eyes open, make sure you report that shit. Idris pilot weapon solution. We all know the problem. New ships can't do it, but the Idris can be soloed. And it's the type of weapon that you can't break into two parts, because it just wouldn't work. So Dread Pirate Crowbert says, reduce the minimum uncharged damage of the Idris railgun to 10% instead of 50%. If overcharged, damage fuses and starts fires, and for extreme overcharge, damage the railgun itself. Add a weapon engineer terminal which allows precise control of charging of the railgun using an interface similar to that used for mining, with a sweet spot that needs to be held to charge at optimal rate and for maximum power. Allow overcharging for additional damage, at the cost of the penalties above. Allow most damage caused by overcharging the main weapon to be repaired, in the same area as the weapon's engineer terminal. Do not provide the pilot with a charging interface. If they charge the weapon themselves, they run the risk of unintentionally overcharging because they cannot monitor the state of charge. They can still tap fire with no risk, but with low damage output. Make the charging time variable based upon current power draw. These same controls can be applied to the laser beam. Yeah, I'd seen somebody else saying the other day that, oh, in fact, there it's there. I would say that they just need to make a reload manual. The lasers need capacitors swapped and the railgun needs slugs dropped in. Kasha, I mean it could be both, carrot and stick. Having multiple people running the Idris equals you get to fire more often and more effectively. Running it solo equals you have to stop flying it to go load it. You don't get the benefit of the charging minigame, etc. It's a really good idea. And I know the Idris pilots aren't going to like it, but we all know why it's a problem. Cyrus Kazan, I'd say they just need an engineering-based firing sequence performed. An engineer needs to redirect power and cooling to the gun, necessitating the reduction of draw from other systems, for a moment to allow firing. If the gun is fired without performing this sequence, it causes power fluctuations and damage to other systems. It's another fantastic idea. You get 10 legendary points. CiG already said they never take spinal weapons away from the pilot. The Idris will always have its size 10 gun under control of the pilot. This will never change. A proper solution would be for you to accept this and move on. Bro, nobody's trying to take your pew-pew away. Yes, that's what I said. This is a proposal for how to fix the imbalance that causes. Try reading the post next time. You have threatened to whale. Of course they're not going to read because any sort of balance is bad when you want to win. So, fire is coming. So in the far future, with mind-blowing ships, quantum travel and everything else, we still need to use fire extinguishers. Lol. No one in this universe ever thought of automatic fire suppression, but they figured out extinguishers. Okay then. Yeah, I know. Don't. Just don't. Nurseman, they are spacecraft. They are not ferries or planes, etc. On board the ISS right now, the procedure for fire response is to attempt to tackle the fire directly. Oh, okay, buddy, I think you missed the point here. Automatic decompression, would it be wise? That's not what you asked for. The number of people keep saying they should add an automatic method to avoid us having to deal with a fire after spending months making fire are insane to me. Yeah, you've got a point. The actual gameplay, from a gameplay perspective, fire's kinda cool. Like, I'm totally up for the fire thing. But he's saying, in the future, it's weird there's no fire suppression system. There's no point in arguing against that because that is weird. And there is no reason why it shouldn't be in the game because usually a fire suppression system involves a container or a tank, and once that's discharged to save the component, there's nothing stopping fire from starting again. And if it does, you need to tackle it manually, just like you would have to in real life. It's about having redundancy. The MI8, for example, has 2 discharges. After that, you're pretty much screwed. But if you can vent the atmosphere in the rooms, then surely we effectively already have this capability. So, I'm not sure what the issue is, to be honest. Oh, this. I'm so glad somebody brought this up. I was going to forget about it. Is it just me, or is the difficulty spot on? NPCs are perfect this patch. Like, not too hard, not too easy, and people form groups for the new intersect/vandal missions. Really love that. Yesterday I had a nostalgic wall classic moment with a random group that formed to do the rep grind. Then we did the vandal mission. It was an absolute blast. Left the site with plenty of cryopods, vandal stuff, an old freelancer. Finally the 4 seats got used. Please continue this path. Yeah, so the NPCs have a bug where they basically have ridiculous accuracy. And there are some cases where it's just stupid, don't get me wrong. Like, absolutely stupid. Like, totally getting mag dumped through walls and shit. But, my god, I have never had so much fun in my life. We were running Hathor the other day and it took a whole crew of us with air support, with pretty much continuous air support. There was just loads of them and they were all crack shots and my god, it was delicious. Normally you're just running around, popping heads, not caring. We were forced into cover. I was forced to retreat from NPCs. I went through a whole med gun. That's never happened before. I had to take a roof for cover and start picking them off. They forced me back that hard. It was fantastic. I felt pressured. I felt engaged. I would even say I felt alive. And I'm not just saying this, oh, you know, my skill level's so freaking high that, you know, we need to, I love it when it's a challenge. Listen, screw all that noise. Running around blasting things in the head that are no threat to you is zero fun whatsoever. And that's where the NPCs were. And when Zach came out on Twitter and says, you know, explained the bug and stuff, it was just a big, massive list of people underneath his tweet going, please, for the love of God, fix the things that need to be fixed, but this level is perfect. It was just so chaotic, so much more tactical. You really had to think about your next move. You could not get caught in the open under any circumstances. But like I say, there were some inconsistencies. The shooting through walls was a big problem. Up close with NPCs with shotguns was another big problem, but the engagement was off the scale. I've never had that much fun playing Star Citizen. In fact, on the Discord, I'm literally organising things based around going where there's the most NPCs before they fix this bug. If you haven't tried it out yet, I totally recommend it. Run Hathor, run ASD, run something with a lot of enemies and just see how it feels. Then get on here and leave your feedback, because this was magical, honest to God. Game package without ship. Reasons this would be a great idea. There are too many pilots and not enough crew for big ships. This would provide a lot of people needing lifts/action to get involved with, especially those just starting and those not in org. This would bring more people that don't want to pay a full price game, 40 to 50 quid, for an alpha with a lot of bugs and could be the cheapest game package. When something is harder to achieve, i.e. ship flight, when these people finally get their own ship, it would be highly satisfactory, unless they just buy one obviously. Those that go on to buy ships will bring more money again. Yeah, I totally agree with this. This is a fantastic idea, but the game isn't, you know, it doesn't support this. We would need taxi cabs and things like that for this to work. And like he says here, a lot more planetary content would be required as well. But the idea of, you know, spawning on an outpost on Pyro, just running maintenance jobs or repair missions and things like that, just doing a bit of farming, saving up enough for a small ship, getting off planet. That's ideal. That would be an ideal, that would be a perfect way to start this game, in my opinion. And I feel like it should be optional as well, obviously. The zero to hero thing is timeless. Call for a hangar instead of a ship at public ASOP terminals. Should have been this way from the start. I think we covered that last week. General ship feature, restock mode suggestion. We need a restock mode for ships. You flip the switch on restock mode and the relevant ammo and missile ports will open up and start to intake only the ammo they can. Huh. Oh, so it's like a physical mode that the ship goes into where it presents all its weapons ports and missile racks and things like that for you to manually restock. Yeah, I get it now. That's a great idea. What would also be cool is if Medgel was added to a manual restock option on the Mobiglass, because that is a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. ATC Rework. I think ATC needs to be looked at with a critical lens. I got some feedback from new players during IAE. One of the most common issues is ATC calling. I think that in the future ATC should be callable from 20 kilometers out. in order to help better facilitate the hangar queue system. Oh, that's a really good idea. I mean, it's not much time and space, at least, you know, like 30 seconds maybe, but it would probably help a bit. I have no idea how they're going to tackle that in the future, especially if they're thinking about opening more server slots for players. It will be interesting to see. Team Ben is stronger with Team Mark. This is about the concept of turrets that detach as small ships, as was mentioned in the recent SCL. Replacing the Starfarer fuel pods with Furies. I know the two of you could easily come up with a way these could connect to that sweet external catwalk and dock exteriorly like the Merlin does on the Constellation. Oh my god, this would be amazing. So a Starfarer that has about 6 or 8 Furies docked to its underside that you can access from the catwalk and just swarm motherfuckers. It's genius, dude. You get 10 legendary points. We have pod smuggling. How about NPC transport? Oh yeah. This feeds into what I've been saying recently about how people get concerned at the mission team being tied up with all these bigger event-like missions like ASD and stuff. I know they're not called events. Whatever you want to call them. Permanent missions within the verse. And how that gives the team a chance to expand its repertoire, skill set and test things for upcoming gameplay loops, and this is one of them. We've got pod smuggling now in the Vandal mission, so that could very soon lead into bounty capture and delivery, live bounty capture, or even this, you know, NPC transport. But to me, this is just cargo, really. I think NPC transport should be a bit more than this, than sleeping cryopod guys. But there's no reason why we can't have both, right? Post of the day, AFK timer on ships with toilets. Please reconsider toilets to increase the AFK logout timer, so when sitting on them the AFK timer gets increased. Dude, you're a freaking genius. I don't know where your genius comes from, dude, but this is genius. For example, Shiv adds 5 minutes, but on an Origin ship you get 30 minutes bonus time. This way, ships with toilets have the edge over ships without toilets. It makes these ships more attractive to use and also adds immersion. An open Mobiglass adds another 5 minutes. I think this is the best idea I've read on this forum in a long time. I couldn't agree more. You win, dude. You are the full spectrum warrior for today. No best in show hall with the ships on display. Disappointed. Oh really? I never knew. I rushed over to the expo hall really excited and left feeling as though the jam had been taken out of my donut. Yeah, I don't know why they've done that. Surely not a space issue, right? The Polaris has been in there before. There's another one. No chance to see the paint before the event ends. Would have been nice to celebrate the Best in Show event and game, not only at the website. Oh, that's shade right there. ASD complex and related mission feedback. Issues for consideration. Coma timer and revive window. Oh, yes. For God's sake, it's far too short. Time limit does not provide a sufficient window for allies to reach the down player and successfully administer medical treatment. 100% true. Lack of mid-mission inventory management. Oh my god, dude, that would be the best thing ever. Offload all the stuff you've looted at a terminal halfway down. That would be ideal. Such a good idea, dude. The requirement to complete the entire research branch without interruption just to access Site B is overly restrictive. Don't know about that one. Like, it takes like under a minute to get down to that elevator. It's definitely risky, though, to do it quickly, I mean. But yeah, quick access might be a better way to go around it, I think. Mission branch, separation, persistence. It would be highly beneficial to introduce the ability to separate the different branches within the ASD complex missions. This would allow players to complete one branch on one day and save their progress to tackle the others later. Yeah, we maybe don't realise it having played the game for this long, but if you bring somebody new into the game and they take a mission and that mission disappears when they log out, that freaks them out. They're like, what? What do you mean the missions don't persist? Why wouldn't the missions persist? It's a completely alien concept. One I've never heard CiG really speaking about much, to be honest. Introduction of persistent shortcuts. To support the ability to break up mission runs, please consider adding permanent shortcuts to rapidly resume progress within each branch on subsequent visits. This could be implemented through a mechanic like access cards that grant entry to advanced sections, saving the time for returning players. Oh yeah, they could totally Dark Souls that shit. Have an upvote, my friend. This was well thought out. More girly content, slightly smiling face. I recently started playing the game and enjoying it very much, but I noticed quite fast that there are not many options to customise your character or spaceship in a girly way, since the whole game is kept in this specific look and style, and so are the customisations. I missed the opportunity to give my character and ship this girly touch. I love more pink and bows and hearts and customisation. The Space Kitten look is kinda close, but it still looks like it's designed for men that like to wear something more girly. Oh, she just called all your asses out. Fuck. The jig's up, gents. I want looks that look like it's designed for women, you know. I don't want to shoot against the current look since they're very cool and matching. I'm just a girl playing Star Citizen in this universe and wish for more pink and girly content to update my looks. Fair enough. Yeah, they do seem to be branching out a bit more into fantasy these days. I see a lot of people complaining about it, that it ruins the aesthetic of the game with the armours with capes and so on. I see that point of view, but I just don't care really. I feel like the argument for a cohesive vision for the game doesn't make sense really. You're always going to have people in any society that want to look different. And I know for a fact if CiG started making really girly armour and stuff like that, all the neckbeards would be up in arms saying, oh, they're ruining the immersion of the game. And, you know, whatever else they say. But it's just a little bit pink. Like, it's not even that offensive. It's just a colour, guys. Although that Mulka paint, oh, that was terrible. And obviously, that's up to a limit. We can't have people running around as freaking Homer Simpson and stuff like that. Like, it's not VR chat, but armour and clothes are fine, in my opinion. And it is called Star Citizen, right? Not STAR-ZYWM, not even Star Pilot. Like, you could live out your entire life planetside, or you could be fabulous and have a 50 cal LMG. You wouldn't be able to hide in the dark, but that is your choice. Elevators are not shuttles. Put a standard control panel in Levski main lift. Yeah. I was in that elevator for the first time the other day. That was weird. That was weird. Maybe they've just accepted that they can't program elevators. And like this guy says here, it potentially moves people around faster because there's only 2 elevators. So everybody just gets on one of those 2 elevators and they all get to go where they need to go. And nobody can press all the buttons. Fix the mole, please. It's been weeks and at least 2 patches and the standard mole's mining lasers cannot be swapped out. At the moment, all mining lasers are currently bespoke. And there's a ton of contributions in IC about this. CiG, you're killing the surface miners and belters here. Please do something. Yeah, I've seen multiple ICs and literally hundreds contributing and not a word of what is happening. Not even a, we know and we are working on it. WTF. There is a lot of angry miners out there. They put in a Teach's special and locked the lasers, new Dicolo mole coming in 4.5 until the pledge mole stays in a condition that makes it utterly unusable. I'm just putting this in here to spread a bit of awareness and hopefully get more IC reports. Yeah, that is pretty bull. Can't have my mining brothers and sisters left in a mole hole. Put components back in shops. Today, like most days, someone was in chat selling a JS500 power plant for 35 million. That's more than CiG charges us for most ships. Now, before people give me the old supply-demand speech, let's just keep it real. The amount of players paying these prices is simply not supported by the current game loops and payout scale. The fact that these prices are sustaining, well, let's just be honest with each other, a lot of people are buying credits online and using it to pay these crazy prices. These prices make these components out of reach to the average player, playing game loops to earn. I also personally believe it encourages online credit purchases, so players can afford them. People have straight up said as much in the chat, so military and stealth grade A components should be added back into the shops. People can still spend 100 million alpha UAC on a helmet if they want, or any other outrageous price. The player market is so out of control with the prices, ship components needs to be taken out of the equation until you can address issues like duping, credit purchasing, etc. Yeah. That's a really good point. The price of stuff has rocketed, and there's definitely exploits needing looked at. If we were able to craft these components, then it will crush the overinflated player market. Yeah, good point. I'd rather just wait for that than have them put back into stores. However, fun alternative here, rep locked shops. Make us get to X tier with the security force or the bounty hunters guild or whatever, and then grant us access to the guild shop with these higher tier components. It's a good shout. Yeah, I'm not sure about putting them back in shops. but something needs to be done. Nurseman again, only just clicked about the 3 recombinants versus the 3 reagents and 3 catalysts in Hyperion, and now I'm doing it to help friends and such like because it's actually very fun. And it just clicked why you did the 3 options. I didn't understand it until literally today. For the 3 options in the research area, I'm actually super impressed, because that makes 3 actually different gameplay variations. But I love that you've actually given me a fun reason to keep coming back, because I will have 3 different experiences. Very impressed with that design. This is a great example of how you can turn grinding into fun. The problem is that this impressive design that creates variation, which is fun and not as predictable, does fall down, because Wicklow wants 5 of each thing. Ah, right, I see. And that's the problem in my opinion. It would be much better if Wicklow had 3 items that need these, and each one just needs 2 of each kind. Doing Hyperion 6 times is reasonable, 15 times is a bit much, just for different texture. Yeah, I've not tried them yet, so I can't really comment, but I just avoid Wicklow in general, to be honest. I don't know why, it just feels like nothing's safe and everything's temporary. But somebody's got to do it to test the game and make sure that it works and so on, so it's just too much work for me, it's too much grind. I'll appreciate it a lot more in 1.0 when I know everything is set in stone for the most part, and I can slowly grind up these things over time. Okay, last one. The marketing team is the only one deciding of the game balance. The Perseus PDC's upgrade kit is sold for $50. This is the only one time in all your game history that you do ballistics right, by making them 6 times stronger than the laser, as I asked you for years. But of course it's only because you are selling it behind a $50 paywall. Ah, there's a PDC upgrade kit for the Perseus? Fuck. CiG. CiG. Why do you keep peeing on me? Fucking hell, cunt. Oh, I get it now. So what people have been doing is they've been buying the new Greycat vehicle with a PDC on top and stripping it off, duping it and applying it to the Perseus. And obviously it's just out, so it costs 50 quid. Yeah, something just generally stinks about the whole upgrade kit thing. Being locked on the store for so long is just, it's another bad taste in the mouth thing that they do. And it's definitely all about money, you know, like this here, this Idris turret kit for money being twice as strong as the size 8 stock Perseus turret. I've no doubt that's true. I'm not even going to check it. When it's so blatant like that and in your face and you know they're going to nerf it before it comes out, yeah, it's pretty tiresome stuff. Well, we can't end on that note, can we? Describing the Hornet Mark 1s as collector's items was disgusting. I mean, come on, crew was attempting to explain that they still had their reason to exist, but then the facade collapsed entirely after Jared said we made them collector's items. Is this seriously enough reason for players to keep their Mark 1s? Why in Chris Roberts' name should anyone ever keep a ship that becomes outdated just for it to sit in their ASOP as a collector's item? Do you remember when the FHC Hornet Mark 1 was actually a decent ship? Pepper Ridge Farm remembers, but so do I, since I keep it sitting on the edge of my hangar collecting dust. From the outset it felt as though the pledges I made for good ships were downgraded to nothing more than trinkets, because frankly why would I ever deploy my Tracker 1 into the verse when I could deploy a Tracker 2? Crew attempted to say that they still do the same thing, but do they? I would say they do not, especially because of the power creep we have seen over the past 2 to 3 years for newer fighters. In my honest opinion, there needs to be a better reason for players to keep their Mark 1s. Perhaps there is some doctrinal difference between the models, so one is a lumbering beefcake that can survive tons of hits, while the other is a nimble feather that would crumple if hit with a solid volley. Maybe the older one has a significantly smaller signature. Something more than, I was there in the early days, here's my $100 token of a ship to prove it. How do you even argue against that? I find it hard to formulate a response at this point. It's just a piss take, really. I mean, every ship in the game should have a role, and collector's item should not be one of them. And they're gonna keep doing it. They're gonna do the bare minimum and then leave that ship. The Aurora's next, and then my money's on the Connie's getting the same. And it would be fine if it was, oh here, you own an Aurora, we've made a Mark II version, just take it. You know, we've decided to make this ship obsolete and not have a place in the game anymore, other than on a shelf. No, don't worry about paying the 50 quid to CC you from your old Connie to the new Connie. Keep your old Connie, take the new one, or at the least a free upgrade token. That's how you create good sentiment. That's how you make more money, believe it or not. It's no coincidence that when they fixed a lot of the game, the sales went through the roof. People feel good about their interactions with a franchise. They give them more money. The wallets are loosened. Having your ship be made irrelevant and then being made to pay more, that type of goodwill eventually runs out. And we all love the game and we all want to see it succeed, but it can be done and achieved in a way that everyone feels good about the transaction. This is not that way. Anyway, sorry about ending on a bum note. I hate it when these shows are predominantly negative, and I can normally find something positive to balance things out, but on this occasion, it is what it is, I'm afraid. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I don't like adding fuel to fires and causing drama and stuff like that. That's not what I want this channel to be about. So in the future, I'll cherry pick some positive, constructive things, and we'll try not to get too bogged down in the drama. Until then, fly safe out there. 07 guys.